Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we'll be discussing tips for traveling to New York City. But before we get into this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel so that you never get to miss any travel tips with me, Kat. So my first tip is in regards to flying to New York. So if you are traveling from far away, like from the west coast of the United States or internationally, I would suggest planning to get your ticket between 4 to 6 months before your trip, just because airfare does get expensive because it is New York City. And I would suggest using the Hopper app because then you can kind of gauge when it's a cheap time to buy your flight. I will tell you a story. So the last time I went to New York, I spent about $800 round trip on my airfare because I went during New Year's Eve, and I also bought my ticket like a month before New Year's Eve, so sometime around November, and it was really pricey at like $800 round trip. It was expensive, but I knew that being New York and being there for New Year's Eve, it was going to be expensive either way. The last trip that I went to for New Year's Eve was a planned trip, like a last minute planned trip with a couple of my friends from college. So that's another reason why I decided to book the flight. My second tip is to plan ahead for the sites you want to see and what you want to do during your stay in New York City. Manhattan is a big island, so having a detailed day-to-day itinerary of what you're going to be doing will give you a better idea of what you're expecting to do during your stay, and also give you a better idea of how you're going about your stay while in New York City. My suggestion, depending on where you are planning to stay, would be to go by district or by site. So I would start with the farthest district or site the first day and the farthest locations, and gradually, as my trip is going to a close, gradually go closer and closer to where I'm staying in New York City. So that way, by the end of your trip, you're kind of done with all the sites that you want to see, and you have time left to just do stuff around wherever you're staying. Kind of going and playing it by ear once you get to New York City and Manhattan is very hard because you'll be jumping from place to place, and it will kind of be unorganized, and you'll feel like you're traveling and doing all the sites that you want to see, and it's just... My third tip is in regards to seeing the Statue of Liberty and the New York City Skyline. So if you're interested in either taking a tour or finding other ways that are cheaper to look at the Lady Liberty and the New York City Skyline on a boat, I would suggest riding the Staten Island Ferry, because what? It's free! So you don't have to pay anything, and also it's that famous orange ferry that is seen in most New York movies. I will put it up right here so you guys can see it. It's a bright ferry, and it's free both ways, and you have good views of the New York City skyline and Lady Liberty. All you gotta do is get on the ferry, ride the ferry, take a couple pictures of the Statue of Liberty and the New York City skyline, get to Staten Island, wait for the next ferry to go back to New York, and maybe take more photos while on the ferry. You get an idea of what New York looks like on a boat for free. Why would you not ride the Staten Island Ferry? Maybe if it's raining or like snowing and it's really cold, I would not suggest riding a ferry or going on a tour on a boat because the Hudson is very cold. My fourth tip is that it's best to travel around New York City via subway and or taxi. You can purchase a Metro card at any subway station. I will also show you what the picture of a Metro card looks like right here. I would suggest either purchasing the 7-day unlimited, which is $32. I don't know, depending on how many rides you're doing. If you don't really know how many rides you're doing during your entire stay in New York and you're staying for about 7 days, I would suggest paying for the 7-day unlimited because it's $32 and it's unlimited rides for 7 days. Or if you are staying for a short amount of time and you can calculate how many rides you're doing for your entire stay, I would also suggest doing the pay per ride. And the pay per ride is $5.50 round trip. I would suggest calculating that, and you can pay for the total at the station at one of the kiosks or vending machines that they have for the Metro card. Also, whenever you buy a new Metro card, it's an additional $1. Also, with the subway system, when navigating around it, the subway trains don't say that they're going northbound, eastbound, westbound, or southbound at all. They instead say either uptown for going northbound or downtown for going southbound, and sometimes they'll either say a district after it says uptown or downtown, and then it will also say that it's going towards an intersection. So when you do plan on taking the subway, really make sure what intersection and what direction you're going towards, and also make sure what number and letter your subway line is. A lot of the subway lines are displayed right at the entrance of the subway station, and they're the circles of different colors with the letters or numbers on them. If you are planning to take the subway during the weekdays, I would suggest avoiding rush hour times, which are around the time you get to work and the time after work. So I would say any time around 8 a.m. would not be great, and any time around 5 p.m. would not be great, because it's going to be packed and a lot of people depend on the subway to get home. So I would suggest either taking a taxi or walking around wherever you are during those times if you are in New York during the weekdays and you want to take the subway. So my fifth tip is in regards to shopping. So there is no sales tax when you spend anything less than $110. If you spend over $110 in New York City on Manhattan, then they will add the 8.875% sales tax to whatever you're spending. That's another reason why I think there's a lot of convenience or drugstores around New York. Another plus about New York that I like to share. My sixth tip is in regards to getting theater or Broadway tickets. So you can get discounted tickets at any TKTS booth in New York City. They provide half off same-day tickets, and I would suggest going to the booth right when they open, because they do get busy, especially on the weekends. You can get 50% off same-day tickets, and you can choose your seats. And I think they have 3 ticket booths around New York City, and I will also link below their website so you guys can go to their website and see the hours that they are open. And then my seventh and final tip is in regards to the nightlife around New York. I would suggest doing some research on what bars, lounges, or nightclubs you want to go to, but I'll also list my favorite and say my favorite bars and nightclubs I like to go to in New York. My favorite of all time, whether it's rain or shine, snowing, whatever, is the 235th Rooftop Bar. And that bar, it's 2 levels. So there's an indoor level, which is the first level on the top floor of the building that it's in, and it has floor-to-ceiling windows, and it's right in front of the Empire State Building, so you get a really nice view of the Empire State. And then the second floor is the rooftop, and they also provide igloos, like little man-made igloos with coats and a portable heater, so you can go inside when it's raining or snowing or just really cold and just chill with you and your friends inside the igloo. You know, grab a drink like a hot toddy or something and just chill. The igloo is like made out of plastic, so it's kind of see-through, so you can still see the views from the rooftop, which is really nice. So I would suggest going to that bar. And then my other favorite nightclub that I do like going to is Marquee in New York. It's just like the same Marquee Club in Las Vegas. It's very Vegas-like, which I like. If you're into clubbing and just EDM music and you want to see who's performing at Marquee, you can go there and get on the guest list. Definitely find a promoter. The nightclub or bar that I went to for New Year's Eve, we went to 48 Lounge, or Lounge 48. and it was a nice place. We had a really great time there for New Year's. A lot of bars and nightclubs in New York City all have their own kind of theme for them. I know there's one that's like dedicated to like Beetlejuice or something. I'll also link that down below. There's a bunch. You just need to do a little bit of research and kind of see what you like. And also, depending on where you're staying in New York, you kind of gotta gauge what bars are good around your area where you're staying. And that is all the tips I have for flying to New York and planning a trip to New York. Please leave a comment if you would like to hear more tips in regards to going to New York City. Thank you so much for watching.